All right. Hello. Welcome to week 4. It is a heavy one. It has been pretty out of all the weeks so far, which makes sense. It has been one of the hardest. If any of the weeks later on get harder, fuck. Straight up. I think we're just going to jump right into it. I've already written down my thoughts about all the different check-in questions. So I'll kind of collate that into one little thing. So first thing, how many days of this week did I do my morning pages? Tantrums often show up as skipping the morning pages. How was the experience for you? Again, I still have consistently done all the morning pages. And I thought about this when I was writing it, that maybe it's because beforehand I was so used to just journaling every morning anyway, that it doesn't really feel any different. Although I did notice that, especially this morning, that because I've been waking up in a certain mood or a certain kind of mental state, negative state about myself or whatever, that I'll use the morning page as just kind of like a journal entry, but fast. But the thing that has happened because of this, I've realized that I've been taking them I've been stumbling a lot more and like taking it a lot slower. And I only realized that by the end of my morning pages today. So by the end of the 3 pages. I noticed it yesterday as well. But I don't really just like let them flow out. You know what I mean? But other than that, it has been good to kind of, I think it's literally been one of the only things that's been keeping me engaged with the artist bay this week. If I wasn't doing it, I would probably feel a bit disassociated, I think would be the word. Did I do my artist date this week? Does your artist child get to do more than rent a movie? What did you do? How did it feel? So this week, I have been having a bit of a difficult bodily experience. And what I mean by that is my body, maybe it's a Kriya, how I was talking about a spiritual tantrum or a spiritual emergency. But my body has been so against me this week. And I've been quite tired and quite just exhausted. And all my energy feels like it's going to that, and it's been kind of stopping me from eating right, and my exercise schedule has kind of been a bit fucked up too. But in terms of my artist date, this week, when I took a day off work, I decided to make a new hot chocolate recipe. And kind of merge that with like wholesomeness and like wellness to make me feel some sense of, comfort. So that was my artist date this week. I kind of made this new recipe that was like dark chocolate, miso paste and bone broth and Moscato chocolate. That was really nice. Felt very nurturing. That was actually quite a nurturing artist date this week, which was, I liked it. And it didn't feel like disgustingly unhealthy. It actually felt quite nice. Yeah. So I'm happy that I did that. I definitely did not have any energy to do anything more than that, like paint like how I did in the previous weeks, or like do something just extravagant. It was just make a hot chocolate, but like make it from scratch in like an inspired recipe that's just mine. 3, did you experience any synchronicity this week, and what was it? I wrote down at first that I felt like I didn't, and then later on when I was journaling and something else, like the issues part, I realized that I actually had. So I'll go into what I first wrote down. I feel like I felt God a little less this week, or maybe I just felt so consumed by my internal experience, I was listening a lot less. I noticed a few angel numbers at strange times, but honestly, other than that, nothing this week. That also felt disappointing. Definitely that lack of synchronicity, it felt like, it felt very discouraging, and it felt like, oh fuck, okay, this isn't working, like, oh, I'm doing it wrong, or like, oh, maybe I'm too fucked up, or like, blah blah, this is not working. And then I later figured out that no, you know what? I'm going to go to it later, I think. Oh, well, this is the next one. Okay, so issues. So I found that what was so discouraging this week, and it said something in here about it. Let me try and find it actually. It said something about reality. Yeah. People frequently believe that the creative life is grounded in fantasy. The more difficult truth is that creativity is grounded in reality. Now, I definitely felt that this week. Realizing that, and then also having the reading deprivation, which is wild and hard, I found myself like realizing that yes, my creativity, from a very young age, I think I've fallen in love with fantasy. And I realized throughout my life I've kind of gone through these cycles of, I've always kind of been in love with fantasy, and fantasy is something that's not immediately in front of you. It's like, something that's dramatically created in your mind that is so much more prettier and more beautiful that you can see it's a quality. But then when it's actually confronted to you and you're faced with it, the reality of it will kind of always be a little bit underwhelming, maybe. I don't know. And I feel like throughout my life, when I've been confronted with those things that I once had a fantasy of, and then I see the reality, they get boring to me, and then I move on. And I've been doing this all of my life, and realizing that when you keep doing that, you become a master of none. And I've realized that with different creative things, with people, with just skills that I could potentially have or whatever. So going back to synchronicity and how this links up, it's really interesting. There was someone that I've been like kind of attracted to and into, and they turned out, specifically this week, they turned out to just be a shitty person, like not that, attractive as a personality and their values and how they speak about others, and unkind, And so that kind of reality just went whoosh, and I was like, ugh, gross. And then I was left with the reality. So you see how that synchronized thing is kind of mixing up, and it's like, what has been happening this week, I think, is me grieving the fact that fantasy is so delicious and scrumptious, but it is fantasy. Reality is something different, and it can be as good, but it takes a lot of hard work to actually make that close to fantasy that's in your mind, or that feeling. And you're kind of always chasing that feeling, but the ultimate feeling of that might not be exactly every time what you thought it would be. It kind of reminds me of 26 by Paramore, that song. That feeling of your dreams and reality, to actually make it tangible and real, it takes a lot of hard work to get there, and you might not actually get it to exactly that image that's in your mind, but you can work as hard as you possibly can to try and get it to a quality of that state. So that's what's been happening this week. Other than that, it's been quite interesting. Like, I feel, among with all these other things, like, as I said, I've had some issues with my body. I don't mean like mental issues, I mean like physical, like illness issues that I'm confronting today. I'm going to go to the doctors and check that out, because it's been concerning, and it's taken up a lot of my mental space of it too, and I've been ignoring it. And I realized today that the feeling that I've been feeling and me going internal all the time is actually kind of, I've seen it as a sign from God saying that, yeah, keep looking in because you need to sort this out, like you need to pay attention to it. So I'm actually taking accountability for it and paying attention to it, so I understand that now. Another thing has been finances, maybe a little bit, has been a bit weird. There's something that kind of requires a financial, not commitment, just like requires you to kind of like financially do something with like a time limit this week. Plan a small vacation for yourself, an extended artist day, and get ready to execute it. Financially, it's like, yeah, okay, sure. So I'm just kind of having to like, decide, I don't know, just get over the fear of spending, I don't know if anybody else feels that, but that's how I feel about things. Other than that, reading deprivation, as I said, really hard. I've been a bit confused on how it works. I understand that, it's there to like make sure that I still have a relationship with myself. But then I've been thinking like, okay, well then how am I supposed to like watch the TV shows I want to watch? Because like, I'm in the middle of watching Shrinking on Apple TV. And I'm not a person, I think that like, I don't binge shit as much, or maybe this made me realize that I shouldn't binge things as much as I did. But I feel like I already have deprived myself of like going into the digital world. I don't really go on Instagram, and I fucking hate scrolling sometimes. I watch TV or whatever when I'm like eating, when I know that I can't really write down. Sometimes when I know I need to be present, I'll just be present. But like without that, and then just having free time, I'm like, when do I get to watch the shows I want to watch? Like, am I just supposed to like just not watch things? I don't know. Yes, that's been a bit weird. So I've been having a bit of conflict with that. I think I'm just going to allow myself to like do my creative thing and act on the creative things that I need to do, and then section off some literal time, like an hour or whatever, to watch that thing. Like, I actually have to make time for it rather than just kind of go to the distraction when I'm idle. But I have to be real, like it has definitely shifted me towards a place where I am doing things. Like, I cut up all my t-shirts to make it so that I actually like them, make them a little bit more feminine. What else did I do? Oh, I cleaned the rust off my bike somewhat. Rearranged my bedroom. Did a bit of painting. Did a lot of things actually, being honest. I rearranged my iPad. Yeah, I did a lot. It does actually give you a lot of time to do things. I allow myself to meditate a lot more. Yeah, no, it is good. Um, it's just making sure that you don't use it as a distraction for different things. But other than that, yeah, it's been good. After this week, I am terrified. In maybe a good, excited way, but terrified of just what is to come uh, in the next weeks. Yeah. Okay. Bye.